Let's begin by taking a moment, breathe in slowly, and as you exhale, I want you to feel the truth settle in your body. You are standing at the edge of the miraculous. You may not see it with your eyes yet. You may not hear it with your ears, but something is moving. Something is aligning. There's a field of intelligence, divine, creative, infinite, that has already begun preparing the unexpected for you. We call that field God, not the God of limitation, not the God locked in a distant heaven, but a God who is the field, the energy, the source of all potential, the God that is not outside of you, but breathing through you. And this God is limitless. Now, you've been taught to believe that life has to make sense, that results must match effort, that circumstances must add up before the miracle shows up. But let me ask you something. What if the formula you've been living by is too small for the power that's coming? Because what's about to happen in your life, what's already in motion in dimensions you can't yet perceive, has nothing to do with logic. It has nothing to do with your past, and it certainly has nothing to do with what the world told you is possible. It has everything to do with alignment. When your energy aligns with divine intelligence, you become a magnet for the extraordinary. You begin to emit the signal of trust, of faith, of surrender, not to what is, but to what can be, and this field, this limitless, loving, conscious God is listening. Right now, your heart is broadcasting a frequency. Every emotion you feel, every belief you hold, every thought you entertain, these are not passive experiences. They are instructions to the universe. So if you want to see something new, you have to become someone new. You must begin to live from the vision, not from the memory, from your future, not your past. The God that created galaxies from nothing does not need time to surprise you. He needs your permission, your willingness to stop rehearsing your limitations, your courage to embody the version of you who already has what you've been praying for. You see, the moment you stop living in reaction and start living in creation, you send out a signal, I'm ready. And God, who has never been bound by human expectations, begins to orchestrate events you couldn't plan if you tried. Ideas come out of nowhere. Doors open without a key. You meet people who were sent, not found. This isn't magic. It's alignment. It's what happens when you live as though the power within you is greater than the circumstances around you. So I want you to declare this in your spirit right now. I will not shrink to match my past. I will expand to meet my calling. Because God is not done. He is not limited by time, space, age, or economy, and He is about to surprise you, not because you earned it, not because you're perfect, but because you finally let go and believed He could. So walk out of here today not waiting for the miracle, but becoming the environment for it, and watch what happens, because when you align with the limitless, the impossible becomes inevitable. God is not limited by your past or logic. He operates through infinite possibility. This statement isn't just a comforting idea. It's a radical truth that invites you to step beyond everything you've been taught about how life works. Too often, we bind our expectations to what has already happened. We define ourselves by our experiences, our traumas, our perceived failures. We assume that because something didn't work out before, it can't work out now. But in doing so, we forget that the source of all creation does not operate within the same parameters we do. What you see as a closed door, God sees as raw material for transformation. What looks like delay in your life could actually be divine timing in perfect alignment. Logic is a tool of the analytical mind. It works in straight lines. It wants certainty, predictability, and safety. But God's language is not linear. It's quantum. It's intuitive. It unfolds through energy, not equations. When you expect your life to change only through what makes sense, you close yourself off to the ways divine intelligence is trying to reach you. Think about it. If miracles had to make sense, they would no longer be miracles. The very nature of the miraculous is that it arises from beyond what the mind can measure. Your past is data. It's not destiny. Just because you've known heartbreak doesn't mean you're bound to it. Just because you've experienced lack doesn't mean abundance isn't trying to find you. God does not consult your history to decide your future. In fact, He's most present in the unknown, in the moments where logic breaks down and the soul begins to awaken. That's when your life becomes fertile ground for surprise, for what you didn't plan but needed. The divine doesn't need your plan to bring purpose. It only needs your permission to transcend the known. What if your story isn't over, but you've just been reading the wrong chapter on repeat? What if the breakthrough isn't waiting for you to try harder, but to surrender deeper? That's what happens when you let go of the belief that reality must follow rules you understand. You begin to sense the nearness of a God who exists outside of time, who writes equations without numbers, and who creates worlds with a word. Your energy and beliefs are instructions to the universe. Every thought you entertain, every emotion you repeat, every internal dialogue you allow to take root, they aren't just passive experiences, they are frequencies, they are signals. You are not simply living inside reality, you are participating in its design. The universe, or more accurately, the divine intelligence behind it, is always listening. Not to the words you speak aloud, but to the energy you carry within. Your belief system becomes a broadcast, and that broadcast attracts experiences, people, and outcomes that mirror it. If you believe life is hard and unfair, you unconsciously filter reality through that lens. You interpret events as confirmation of struggle. If you believe you are unworthy of love or success, you begin to move, speak, and choose from that inner posture. And the field, the energetic matrix that responds to your vibration, reflects that state back to you with striking accuracy. This isn't wishful thinking or metaphysical fluff. It's the same principle that governs radio waves and magnetic fields. What you emit is what you receive. Now imagine shifting that frequency. Instead of constantly replaying stories of fear, scarcity, and doubt, you begin to embody real belief in possibility. You hold the inner posture of worthiness, abundance, peace. You stop looking to your current environment for proof and start using your internal energy as the evidence. This is where transformation begins. When you begin to think greater than your environment, you teach the body what the future feels like before it arrives. And the moment you feel it as real, you shift your relationship to time. You collapse the distance between the now and the not yet. God, the limitless source of creation, is not responding to your needs alone. He is responding to your alignment. It's not enough to say you want a new life. You have to energetically become the person who lives that life, and that becoming begins on the inside. Your internal state must lead, not follow. The world will tell you to wait for change before you believe. But divine intelligence works in reverse. It waits for belief before it releases the change. Faith, when practiced energetically, is not a concept. It is a frequency that reorders reality around it. Miracles manifest when you align with divine intelligence, not when you strive from fear. Striving from fear is a survival mechanism. It's reactive, frantic, and deeply rooted in the belief that something is missing. It says, if I don't work harder, it won't happen. It's based on separation, the idea that you are alone, unsupported, and disconnected from the source that created you. In that state, even your best efforts feel exhausting, and results seem delayed or inconsistent. That's because fear does not align you with the flow of divine power, it cuts you off from it. You may still create from fear, but what you create carries the vibration of struggle, anxiety, and limitation. On the other hand, alignment is not effort in the traditional sense. It is coherence. It's the process of tuning your thoughts, emotions, and energy to match the frequency of the outcome you desire. When you align with divine intelligence, you're not forcing your way into a new reality. You're stepping into resonance with a reality that already exists in the quantum field. You stop chasing and you start receiving. You don't beg for miracles. You become the space where miracles feel at home. Alignment doesn't mean passive waiting. It means intentional being. It means waking up and choosing to live from the elevated emotions of gratitude, love, and trust before anything changes. When you do that, you send a clear signal to the field that you're no longer embodying your old story. You're no longer vibrating at the frequency of fear, lack, or control. You're radiating from the energy of already having, already being, already becoming. That signal doesn't go unnoticed. Divine intelligence is deeply responsive. It's not just observing your actions, it's responding to your inner state. When your energy is aligned with the creative force of the universe, you become magnetic to what already belongs to you. You don't have to manipulate the process. You don't have to micromanage every detail. The how is not your job. Your job is to hold the vibration, to live from the elevated state that makes the miracle inevitable. Fear may push, but alignment draws. Striving is rooted in doubt, but alignment is rooted in knowing. And it is that knowing, that deep cellular level awareness, that allows the miraculous to enter through doors you didn't even know existed. Transformation begins when you live from the future, not the memory. Most people wake up every day and immediately reconnect with who they were yesterday. The same thoughts begin to loop, the same emotional patterns resurface, the same habits are carried out almost unconsciously. In doing so, they recreate the same experiences over and over again, even when they deeply desire change. The body becomes conditioned to the past, and without realizing it, the past becomes their identity. They don't just remember their experiences, they live from them. Memory becomes the architecture of their reality. But if you want transformation, real, lasting transformation, you must break that cycle. You must begin to think, feel, and act as if the future you long for is already here. This isn't pretending or fantasy, it's alignment. It's what happens when you use your imagination not to rehearse fear or regret, but to envision what is possible and bring it into the now. The moment you emotionally connect with your future, your brain begins to rewire. Your body begins to respond. You're no longer repeating the past, you're rehearsing the future. Living from the future means you wake up and ask yourself, who do I want to be today? Not based on who you were, but based on who you are becoming. It means embodying elevated emotions, gratitude, joy, inspiration, not because your circumstances demand them, but because your destiny deserves them. When you begin to feel now how you would feel then, you collapse time. You shorten the gap between thought and manifestation. The universe doesn't respond to the future you hope for. It responds to the future you believe in and live from. Your future is not ahead of you in time. It exists as a frequency, a potential, a reality that's already formed in the field, waiting for you to tune into it. The only way to access that future is to stop emotionally returning to the familiar pain of your past. The more you identify with your history, the harder it becomes to evolve. The more you live from your vision, the faster you begin to experience synchronicities, breakthroughs, and shifts that align with that vision. Memory may feel comfortable, but it is not creative. Only the future can pull you into transformation, and only you can choose to live from it before it arrives. You don't wait for the miracle, you become the environment for it. Most people live in a state of anticipation, hoping something outside of them will change so they can finally feel peace, joy, or fulfillment. They wait for the relationship to heal, the opportunity to arrive, the breakthrough to happen before they shift their internal world. But this approach reverses the true order of creation. The external doesn't lead the internal creates the external. The moment you decide to become the energetic match for the outcome you desire, you stop waiting and start participating in the miracle. Becoming the environment means recognizing that your inner world must be conditioned to reflect the reality you want to see. You create the conditions for transformation by choosing elevated emotional states before the evidence shows up. When you begin to feel abundant while your bank account still says otherwise, or feel love before the partner arrives, or feel healing before the diagnosis changes, you are becoming the environment. You are sending a signal into the field that you are no longer living by circumstance. You are living by design. The field of divine intelligence is responsive. It mirrors not what you wish, but what you embody. When your emotional signature carries the vibration of the outcome you seek, the universe begins to respond accordingly. Events arrange themselves, people cross your path, resources flow, not because you forced them, but because you tuned your energy to receive them. You didn't need to chase the miracle. You became the frequency where miracles naturally occur. This kind of transformation requires discipline, not in the form of control, but in consistency. It's a moment-by-moment choice to return to the state of being that reflects your vision. To catch yourself when old emotions try to drag you back into the past. To breathe, to center, to realign, and to do it again tomorrow and the next day until that elevated state becomes your new baseline. At that point, you're no longer asking for change. You are change. The world around you has no choice but to respond. You've moved from hoping for the miraculous to embodying it, from waiting for divine timing to becoming a vessel for it, from seeking evidence to becoming the evidence. Your inner state creates before your outer world catches up. Everything you experience externally is a reflection of what has been cultivated internally, often long before it becomes visible. The world you see with your eyes is a delayed mirror of the world you've held in your thoughts, emotions, and energetic patterns. Most people live in reverse. They wait for change in their environment to feel different inside. But creation doesn't work that way. The moment you shift your inner state, your emotional baseline, your mental focus, your energetic vibration, you begin to send a new signal into the field of reality. That signal doesn't go unnoticed. It initiates a process of alignment, and that process is what causes the outer world to slowly begin reflecting your inner change. This is why transformation begins in the unseen. Long before anything shifts in your career, relationships, health, or finances, something must shift in your consciousness. You have to feel abundance before money shows up. You have to feel love before the partner arrives. You have to feel whole before the healing manifests. These are not just emotional exercises. They are acts of creation. Your emotions are magnetic. Your thoughts are electric. Together, they form the blueprint of your future. The energy you carry becomes the architecture for what appears next. It's important to understand that your current reality is not permanent. It's just a record of your past patterns. The job, the stress, the lack, the conflict, all of it is evidence of an earlier vibration, a signal you've likely been sending out without even realizing it. When you decide to create from a higher frequency, you begin the process of rewriting that record. You stop recycling the past and start broadcasting the future, but there's a delay. The outer world doesn't always shift the moment you shift inside, and this is where many people give up. They assume it's not working, and they revert back to the old emotions, the old patterns, the familiar internal state. What they don't realize is that creation was already in motion. The energy had already begun rearranging the field. Patience becomes an act of faith, not just in divine timing, but in the truth that the unseen is more real than the seen. Holding the new state long enough allows reality to catch up. Faith is not passive belief. It's an energetic decision to embody your future. Most people think of faith as something abstract, a silent hope tucked away in the background while life unfolds. But real faith isn't idle. It's not about waiting and wishing. It's a conscious moment-by-moment choice to show up as if what you've asked for is already yours. Faith lives in how you speak, how you move, how you think, how you feel. It is not simply a mental affirmation. It is a full body agreement with the reality you desire but cannot yet see. When you embody your future, you begin to feel the emotions of the person you're becoming, not the person you've been. You shift your posture, your expectations, your internal narrative. You begin to make decisions from your vision, not from your history. And that decision sends out a frequency into the field, an energetic blueprint that divine intelligence can respond to. This is how faith activates creation. It doesn't just believe the future is coming. It lives as if it's already here. The gap between where you are and where you want to be is not closed by effort alone. It's closed by alignment, and faith is the bridge. It allows you to inhabit a future version of yourself in the now, collapsing the illusion of separation between the unseen and the seen. When you choose faith energetically, you are telling God, the field, the universe, I trust what I can't see more than what I can. I believe in the possibility more than the pattern. I honor the inner shift more than the outer resistance. This level of faith is not always comfortable. It will stretch your nervous system. It will challenge your habits. It will pull you out of the safe, predictable world of logic and into the wild territory of the unknown. But that's the point. Transformation doesn't occur inside comfort. It happens when you lean into the mystery with such conviction that your energy becomes indistinguishable from the future you are calling in. Faith, when lived fully, alters your chemistry. It changes your brainwaves, your hormonal balance, your emotional tone. You stop being a victim of your past and become a creator of your present. You're not hoping something will happen. You're preparing for it emotionally, mentally, and energetically, because your future isn't a distant outcome, it's a state of being you choose now. The divine responds to authenticity, not performance. In many spiritual teachings and personal growth practices, people are encouraged to put on a good face or act as if to attract what they want. While embodying the energy of your desired future is important, there is a subtle but powerful distinction between authentic alignment and superficial performance. Authenticity means being honest with yourself about where you really are emotionally, mentally, and energetically, even if that truth feels uncomfortable or vulnerable. Performance, on the other hand, is wearing a mask, a version of yourself that you think you should be rather than who you truly are in the moment. Divine intelligence, the limitless source of creation, is attuned to your genuine state, not your facade. It recognizes the difference between someone pretending to be joyful and someone who is honestly seeking joy but struggling with sadness. It resonates with the real feelings you hold beneath the surface, the unspoken desires, the silent fears. When you attempt to perform happiness or faith without truly feeling it, you create dissonance in your energy. This dissonance creates resistance in the field, making manifestation more difficult. The universe isn't fooled by appearances. It responds to the energetic signature of your true self. Authenticity requires courage because it means facing your shadow, the doubts, the pain, the wounds you've been avoiding. It means surrendering the need to control how you are perceived and allowing yourself to be seen as you are. This honesty opens a channel for divine grace to flow. When you bring your whole self, light and shadow, into alignment with your vision, you create coherence in your energy. Coherence is the powerful magnetic force that attracts miracles. It is the bridge between who you are and who you are becoming. The process of authenticity is also healing. As you allow yourself to feel and express your real emotions, you release old patterns and beliefs that have kept you stuck. You no longer expend energy hiding or pretending, freeing your system to align with higher frequencies. The divine honors this process and meets you in that place of vulnerability with support, guidance, and unexpected opportunities. Authenticity is not about perfection. It is about being real enough to invite transformation. When you live authentically, you become a living channel for the miraculous because miracles flow naturally to those who are true to themselves.